What's going on, everybody? Welcome to your one source for everything cool in video games. We are Inside the Game. If you want to be a part of our show, then head to insidethegame.ca and submit your clip to end off our show. We've got a loaded episode this week. Scott and I grab our Stadia controllers and check out Crayta. From there, Scott continues on in the world of Pokemon with the latest DLC, and I get a first-hand look at Twin Mirror, Dontnod's upcoming thriller. Now you can also check us out over on Discord, YouTube, and of course Twitch, the official ITG, for all your gaming sources from around the world. Now, to get things started, here we go. It's the Inside Scoop.
So a little while back, the guys reviewed My Friend Pedro, a side-scrolling shoot-'em-up, crazy awesome action game. It got rave reviews on the Switch and all the other consoles that it was on, and it was just really fun, kind of addicting style of game to play. Well, guess what? One of the co-creators of John Wick, Derek Kolstad, is signing on as the executive producer and a writer for a half-hour R-rated show based on My Friend Pedro. I think that's going to be a pretty awesome show. If you're a fan of the John Wick series at all, I think this game fits in with exactly that style of action. So, I don't know. I think this one's going to be a whole lot of fun to watch. We haven't heard any other real details on what platforms or streaming services it may be available on. Just that this is, being talked about as something that's going to happen. So, you know what? If you haven't checked this game out, you got to check it out. But if you're a fan of this game, you got to keep your ears to the ground, because I think when this show drops, it's going to be absolutely awesome.
The creators of the Left 4 Dead franchise, Turtle Rock Studios, has hinted at a new series coming to light called Back 4 Blood. Very little is known about this game, but one picture shared on Twitter by the developers hints at a lot of fortifications and a lot of defense, in addition to the classic FPS that you've come to know and love from Left 4 Dead. Not a whole lot is known about this, but it is said to be coming out on PC, PS4, Xbox One, and now we're thinking most likely the new gen consoles.
There's some exciting news for 11-bit studios. They're investing a lot of money into their future. Last year, they made over $30 million, and that's helped funding their programs moving forward. There are 4 titles getting $6.3 million invested into them, as well as First Party is investing $15 million. So if you're a fan of Moonlighter or This War of Mine, look forward to those games coming in the future with a bit of a twist, I'm sure.
So in regards to the Nintendo Switch, we got a few rumors, and both of them are sounding very promising. Firstly, we got rumors that voice actors from Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 are finished their work. That was a tweet directly from them, so this is pretty exciting stuff because the first one was incredible, and I can't wait to see what Nintendo's going to bring with the second one.
With Project xCloud coming more and more in the forefront for Microsoft, especially as later this year it's going to be adapted into the Game Pass system, and I think a lot of people that are testing xCloud right now are starting to find that there's lots of kind of peripheral needs, kind of maybe that are required with a streaming service like xCloud. Well, a company called 8BitDo has you covered. They've got a really cool retro NES, like Super NES, style controller, kind of modded into an Xbox One style, and it's actually going to be officially licensed with Microsoft and xCloud, an official partner, and it actually looks really, really cool, so let's check it out. The tiny Bluetooth controller is designed to be compatible with all Android smartphones and tablets, and it's officially licensed as a compatible xCloud and Xbox controller. The built-in batteries should last for around 18 hours, and there's a USB-C port for charging. The controller even ships with a clip to attach to phones with adjustable positioning. 8BitDo has worked with Microsoft to license this Xbox controller and ensure it's fully functional with xCloud. There's even separate software that will allow you to customize button mapping and adjust stick and trigger sensitivity. The controller supports profiles that you can switch between for custom button loadouts. Pre-orders for this controller are available today, and they're available for $44.99. And you know what? The controller is going to be dropping on September 21st. So if this xCloud service is something you think you're really going to take advantage of, well, it sounds like this is going to be the peripheral to get. There's going to be a lot of other third-party ones to combat, but if you're going to have one officially licensed with Xbox with all those extra features, to me it just seems like kind of a no-brainer. Even at $45, it's still half the price of what a other controller would cost. So you know what, if you can pre-order this one, if it's something you're interested in, I think this one's probably going to be the best one available, definitely on the xCloud launch for sure.
Earth Defense Force World Brothers is coming to the Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 4 in 2021. This game is set to be kind of a departure from the usual dark and really gritty action shooter, crazy giant bug looter game that I really enjoy. But this one has its own voxel style graphics. It has a different look to it. Being the first EDF to make it to the Switch, they want to impress a younger group of gamers to try and get them into what would be eventually maybe the smash hit with their main series. They've acknowledged that this game is a little different than what fans of the series might be super excited for, but they are coming out with another mainline game, and this should tide you off until then. Earth Defense Force is a massive series in Japan, and they have only experienced some success recently in America and the West in general. I want to see how this one turns out, and I can't wait to see how the new game looks on the Nintendo Switch.
Alright, so one of the most exciting times of the year is only a few weeks away, and that's July 23rd. Microsoft is finally dropping the Xbox Series X showcase, where we're going to hear all about Halo Infinite, maybe some more information on Cyberpunk, maybe some new IPs from Microsoft. I can't wait for this day. Mark your calendar, because I'm going to be watching it live.
There's some exciting news out there for anybody who's looking to make video games. Manticore Games has launched a free software called Core that allows you to go in and start building your own games. I know video games can be a little daunting. We just reviewed The Last of Us Part 2, and that's no small feat. But if you're looking to get into the video game industry, this could be your opportunity. And they've actually added a new feature. It's a pilot program that allows gamers to go in, design their own game, and start making some money. So how do you get involved in this program? Well, as of right now, it's an invite system only. So you have to be over on the Core program, downloading and making games, and from there get noticed. Once you receive that invite, then you have an opportunity to make $3 per unique viewer on each game. Now, if you figure that out, you get 1,000 viewers in a month, that's $3,000. That's no small little chunk of change. So if you're interested in making games, check out coregames.com and see what you can make.
Rumor that we heard was that Doom Eternal is still coming to the Switch. That's right, the most incredible first-person shooter, dare I say, from this year is going to be made to the Nintendo Switch. I can't wait to see how it goes because Doom 2016 played very well.
Nate, I feel liberated.
I don't know if I do.
Nate, you and I jumped in over on the Switch to check out Liberated. This is a black and white comic style adventure that we're jumping into with corruption and deceit and all kinds of little neat mechanics that I really kind of got hooked into this game in particular. And the biggest thing that really drew me in is the story itself. I loved the story of Liberated. What did you think about the game?
Oh man, so
Gameplay-wise, the game kind of, I think it was a little bit lacking. I don't know. I found that there were a lot of moments where the analog stick wasn't working when I was trying to aim in a certain direction, or just wasn't quite as responsive as a lot of other, shooters and other games like this. But aside from that, like you said, the story, man, is definitely where this game shines, and even the art style too. I really like how it's kind of black and white and gray, and it's this really unique kind of art style along with it. And, once you kind of dive into the story, you kind of realize that the whole storyline is kind of black and white itself.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything there is just kind of this neutral tone, right? There is no bad guy per se throughout the story. It is about corruption of the government, and now they've kind of taken over all the cams, and you have to live by their law. But yet there's this group of Liberated that are out there, and they're going against these guys, and they're hacking things, and to get in and to free the people is what their goal is in a sense. And then the twists and turns that kind of evolve throughout the story, which is honestly a little short, but I thought it was a good package that they put together, and it's all told in this black and white kind of comic book feel. And dude, I had a great time playing it. You did touch on the gameplay itself, Nate, and I gotta absolutely agree there with you. I played it with a Pro controller. You were playing on the Switch and handheld most of the time, weren't you?
Yeah, it was handheld.
And that is difficult, dude. Those sticks don't respond the way you really want them to. But even when I was on with the Pro controller on the big TV, even that felt a little bit off. And then the way the art style and the direction of the art itself is laid out, sometimes the environment that is in front of your guy, in front of the camera, right at the very forefront of the screen itself, can sometimes block where your character is. And I found that to be a problem.
Yeah, man. And when there's, with this game, there's only 2 difficulty settings, and when you're playing on, I guess, normal per se, because there's only reader and normal, but when you're playing on normal, you die fairly fast, like only by 2 or 3 gunshots. So when you're, because often enough, when you have this kind of thing that blocks right in the front of your screen, it's usually when you're getting attacked, I find, or you're running away from something. So
exactly.
Again, like the gameplay, it was lacking. But the whole kind of game, it pushes you forward where you're in a gameplay sequence, and then you're moving into a sequence where you're pressing a series of buttons, or then it's just straight up you reading, which this whole game is reading. There's no voiceovers. Keep that in mind. Which, I don't know, it's a comic book. You're meant to read comic books, so I'm not necessarily knocking it.
Would have been a nice touch.
Oh, it would have. With good voice acting, my goodness, this story could have been,
oh man, it would have been awesome.
Top par.
Yeah, no, for sure. It would have been a really nice touch to have that in there with some deep, voices and kind of, man, if they could have got like Troy Baker in there, or something that is top notch within the industry, or if they want to reach out, we can hook them up with Scott and his grizzly voice. But either way, we had a good time playing that. But honestly, the biggest struggle for me was the gameplay itself. That clunky control, and then the ragdoll physics of the enemies themselves when they get in your way. They just, man, I was getting hooked on them sometimes, or hooked on the environment itself. It just kind of took away from the game, but it's the strong art and the story that just really drove me to complete this game, which honestly is in 4 whole chapters, which doesn't take very long to complete. So if you're in for something, you're in for a good time, but you're just not there for a long time.
Alright, so in lieu of the gameplay kind of being weaker at moments, there is some strong points, and I think that's in the puzzles of the game, man. They have quite a variety of puzzles, and some of them, they make you think, man.
Dude, these hacking puzzles that when you go into an institution, sometimes you're looking to hack your way in, right? You're supposed to be this stealth hacker, and though the game doesn't really feel all that stealthy because it's just easier to pop a guy in the head and move on, but when you get to these puzzle mechanics, all of a sudden you're pulling out your phone and you feel like this hacker, right? And you're trying to crack the code and stuff. I thought that was one of the best highlights within the game, are these hacking moments. I thought they were so cool and so creative. I had a blast with these moments. Nate, we had a good time, but a short time in Liberated. What are you scoring this game over on the Switch?
Well, man, all in all, I had a pretty good time with this. The story really kind of kept me moving forward. The graphics are really great. You know, that black and white, gray art style, along with the whole black and gray and white storyline. It just was perfect, man. This one gets a 7 from me.
Yeah, it had some good twists and turns there. Really kind of caught me off guard. I had a good time playing it, and honestly, I didn't really want to put it down. Once I got started, I was hooked, but the gameplay kind of just did take me back a little bit. But I'm there with a 7 as well.
Puzzle platforming story that treads in very gray waters, making you wonder who really is the villain.
Drew, you feeling like a Crayta?
Scott, you and I jumped over on the Stadia and we were checking out Crayta. This is one of those let's play, share, build, kind of keep creating games that helps build a community, but also allows you to build and design your own game. So what'd you think of this one? This is a new take for Stadia and something I think that can help build a community, or maybe not.
Yeah, it's right off the start a pretty overwhelming look into a creating platform.
Yeah.
It is a big side of it is the gaming side, and just equally as large is the creative side. So there's a mix of people that you could attract. You could theoretically just play games constantly through this and never touch the creator side. But I just want to go over how it looks. Doesn't it have like a Fortnite aesthetic to it? What does it look like to you?
Yeah, absolutely. It has, honestly, I kind of get a combination of Fortnite with a high-res version of Minecraft. We're going to call this a preview of the game moving forward, because right now when we're jumping into these games that are already pre-built, there's a limited amount of lobby members in there for us to join and hang out with. So we're checking out what we can while we can, but it's really, the game is just about to launch, and that's when the community will hopefully gravitate to the game, and we'll be able to get a better, fresh idea of whether or not the game is going to survive and what it runs like when it's out in the wild, right? But again, getting back to it, it is one of those, honestly, it's like Dreams on the PlayStation 4, but now on the Stadia platform.
Yes, exactly. It's like Dreams, or it's like Roblox kind of on the PC platform, and approach into the console gaming network. There's a lot of creativity in those kind of games, and it really is up to the creator to make a game in their imagination and bring it to life. It seems like there's a lot of creator tools to this one, and it gets really, really in depth. So if you want to make any kind of game that you can think of, I believe they kind of give you 7 different starting points, genres to kind of give you an idea of what's capable of being made. But it's really the sky's the limit for you beyond that. And I jumped into something that was similar to Overcooked. It was obviously modeled in the same vein, and it was obviously attempting to be a similar kind of game.
Absolutely.
And it did the job really well. Somebody scripted it properly. It ran just the same as Overwatch would. I played it with another friend online that I made that day, and it was interesting. So there's definitely potential here for a lot of fun, that's for sure, just as a player standpoint.
Getting into the creative side, I was able to start out, and I'm building this forest scene. I've got a little river going through it and some rocks, and I'm starting to build the area that's going to lead into my game. But then to get into the game itself and start programming all these mechanics, like you're putting in script, and it gets pretty heavily detailed. And what I find the game actually lacks is a tutorial to tell you how to do all this stuff. I'm going to compare this to Dreams, because I played a ton of Dreams. It's just a matter of a flick of a button and you're in, and I can figure out what I need to do and how I can do it. Where on Crayta, it is not that way at all. In order to get a tutorial, you actually have to go to the website and figure it out that way and go on to their tutorials there, instead of having it quickly and accessible within the game itself, which is kind of a takeaway from the game. And I think the game itself is going to be a little bit overbearing for those who are looking for something a little bit more simplistic. But if they're able to kind of get through that grind, man, you can create an absolute ton of stuff, and it's up to you where your imagination takes you. If you don't have Stadia Pro, which then becomes free for all users, the actual base price of the game is $50, which to me is way overpriced for what we need to have as a building block of a community to keep this game alive. It's not like you have a story campaign that you're able to play through and then go out, or a multiplayer. There is a bunch of different games you're able to play, but without anybody building those games, we're not going to have anything. And you have to have something that's enticing enough for people to jump in, and that $50 price tag is a little concerning.
Yeah, there's just a better way of doing it. If you're gonna get into this game, you just want to have that Stadia Pro membership, I believe, anyways. If you're gonna be a creator on this platform, it's gonna make sense to you. And monetarily speaking, 1 month of that is a lot less than buying the game outright. So that seems to be the best way of getting a hold of it. Now, because it's not really populated right now, it's kind of hard for us to get a grasp of this and what it's fully capable of and how this community is going to react. This is why we're not exactly doing a review at this moment. But in some time, we're going to come back and take a look at this and see how the community has grown, how the game types have changed, and maybe how the controls have been a little bit updated.
3, 2, 1.
I was invited to get a first look into Don't Nod's upcoming psychological thriller, Twin Mirror. And with this 20-minute footage, I was able to get an inside look as what the early stages of Twin Mirror is going to be and how the story is going to start to unravel and why we should care.
After a short break, mental health expert Dr. Winnicott will discuss the recent opioid epidemic that's been affecting our town.
None of my bed don't weigh the same.
Basswood is many things. Peaceful tops that list.
Change my clothes and walk.
Until that day.
You're the one in the driver's seat, Sam. I can't make you do anything. Coming back to Basswood was your idea.
As I watched the hands-off footage for Twin Mirror, I was instantly intrigued with the game. Sam Higgs, our main protagonist, is a investigative detective with a creeping past that brings him home, a place he really doesn't want to be. You can get that sense, that feeling that Sam doesn't want to go home, but he has to. He has to because his best friend Nick has passed away and he's supposed to go to the wake. Sam gets lost in these memories, these thoughts, and this is one of the coolest features of the game. They call this the Mind Palace. Basically what it is it's these shattered fragments of his past, and it's like this glass shattered area, and they have platforms, and Sam is able to relive some of his memories. And as you watch these memories and replay them, they actually open up bios of the characters that you're watching, so it helps kind of weave the story together. It was one of the cooler things of the game that I was able to get an early look at, as well as what's going to be happening next. The way Sam is told through some of these past memories and then these third-person perspective thoughts of Sam. As he's a detective, his eye's always on the move and his brain never shuts off. And as he's scanning the area and kind of just reliving how the events led up to him leaving what is his hometown of Basswood, is now unfortunately bringing him back. And Sam doesn't want to be there, like I said, and you get that sense and that feeling right off the hop. Those early 20 minutes of this footage instantly set up everything in the game. This seems to be the very beginning of the game that I was able to catch on, and Sam is an interesting character with a past that seems to be haunting him. And the way that, if you played a Don't Nod title before, like Life is Strange, you're gonna get that instant gratification of how the story's told. They are going with more of a movie thriller aspect to this one. They kind of touched on that within the demo, and it was really cool because your choices matter, and one of those biggest hooks are that the choices affect the outcome of the story, and your choices are like this gray line. You don't have a black or white decision. There isn't a good or a bad decision. It is completely up to you and the outcome that will build at the end of the game. And it's really just that gray fine line of which way do you want to go. And I think that's one of the cooler aspects of the game, is the fact that when I'm playing and I tell my story of Sam Higgs, then you play, you're gonna have your own story and your own outcome. So that's what I mean. There's this gray line. There's no black or white decision, no wrong or right. One of the coolest parts about the demo was this entity that pops out every now and then when big story moments are about to impact the game. They call him the Double. He comes out when choices are really going to affect the outcome of everything, and he kind of gives you his own perspective of what choice you should make, and then what ultimately it is up to you. You're gonna have a couple decisions on screen, but he's there to kind of give you this like little bug or this little perspective that kind of natters at you at the same time and going, no, you should probably do this. And I thought that was interesting to see something come into that game. And I like how the choices are always there, right? This is a don't not experience. You get that choices matter and everything else, but now you get this other perspective as well, who's going to be there in your ear, more or less, kind of giving you his perspective and why you should do and reason with him and go, you know what, maybe some of these choices don't matter, so don't bother with that choice. You should focus on this choice. And that necessarily isn't the right choice. But again, there is no right or wrong here. It's just always a gray line. Very cool. Sam had no intentions of ever coming back home because of an old ex-girlfriend, Anna. He actually proposed in a memory that played out in the Mind Palace, and you can see everything unfold as Sam was ultimately rejected in his proposal, and that's why he left Basswood in the first place, but ultimately got pulled back home because of his best friend Nick, who passed away. Now, why Nick passed away is a bit of a mystery, but we find that out as we run into Nick's daughter Joan, which is ultimately Sam's goddaughter. Joan wanted to talk about this death, and as you run into Joan and start talking, that's when the Double pops up and kind of gives his perspective. Either A, just leave Joan alone and let her go on her own, or you can ultimately help her. Now, the Double himself kind of didn't even want to be bothered and said, what's the point, kind of thing, that Nick has passed and let it go. But Joan has other suspicions. Joan played out the fact that her father Nick, as he passed away in a car crash, drives like a turtle and thinks he was ultimately set up and was murdered. So then you get this detective perspective then that Sam has, and that's when the story starts to unfold, and ultimately the story of the demo ended. My time with the demo was only about 20 minutes, as I said, and it is short, but it's all I needed to see. It's that simple. That's why I was able to watch the outcome and everything and the story unfold. I was hooked. It definitely has me interested. This thing looks cool, and the body double and the choices and the fact that everything is this gray line and there is no right or wrong answer. And of course, lots of mystery and detective solving. This sounds like a blast, and I can't wait to see it when it comes out on PS4, Xbox One, and PC sometime this year. Hopefully, sooner than later.
The good news, though, at least you don't have to do it alone.
Alright, Scotty, I think we shrunk ourselves. Alright, Scott, so we got our hands on Metamorphosis on Steam, and this is a pretty cool first-person puzzle platformer Honey, I Shrunk the Kids-esque style game, man. And truthfully, I actually really enjoyed it. What did you think of this game?
Yeah, my first impressions of this game were really interesting. I haven't seen this concept done quite before, and it reminded me kind of like a Bug's Life, the way some of the environments look. So I was definitely in to try this one, and I was not disappointed. Now, you mentioned puzzling. There is kind of some puzzling to it, but I found it was kind of really easy and somewhat basic because you're limited to a few different ways you can interact with the world. You just have this ability to walk on like a dial or something in place, and then you get like this sticky stuff on your feet that lets you climb up walls. That was really cool. What did you think of how this game looked?
Oh, the look of the game, man, is really cool. The setting that they go for, and you know, this playing from a perspective when you feel so small in this very big world, it is really cool, man. They kind of have some realistic settings where you're traversing through a room or a house, and then you're in another setting where you're in like a supernatural kind of world. So they kind of throw you all over the place, and all in all, it looked pretty good, man.
Yeah, it's definitely got its own style to it, and it was really cool to see like the progression that hits you really quickly on in the game of turning into a bug. Like you shrink very rapidly, and then the world is just a little different, and then the bugs have a weird, crazy voice they speak to you in. It was that was really cool. I really enjoyed the way the game set up the aesthetic to support it.
Yeah, because basically the game starts you off where you kind of wake up and you're like, oh man, that was a great night last night. I gotta go find my buddy Joseph. And then, you know, you're kind of walking through the house and you're like, man, why does everyone look weird? And then before you know it, you turn into a bug. And then you find out there's a way to be turned back into a human. So the whole premise of the game is you going to the tower, I guess it's called. That's what they call it. And anyways, apparently they have this remedy to become human. And your whole, not the whole experience, but part of the experience is leading up towards that.
In addition to the aesthetic of the game being really pleasing, it has this humor about it that's really, really funny. You follow your friend Joseph around, and you're trying to like get his attention at times. You interact with these people in hilarious ways, and a lot of the time you're just you're trying to find documents or something to push along his court case that seems to be kind of a sham. It's all really silly, and I love the way they incorporated it.
Yeah, man, it's kind of got this really funny British sense of humor, you know. And the nice thing is too, they have some voice acting in it, so you're not, you know, you are reading documents, and when you're talking to bugs, you're sometimes or often reading. But there is a kind of a nice balance. You're not. It didn't feel overbearing.
Yeah, and it was definitely, we would have noticed a lack of voices, that's for sure. So it was definitely good that they included that.
So man, a great thing too, this game feels really full. There's lots of characters to interact with, and each of them kind of have their own little thing that they say, sometimes giving you hints towards your objective or leading you towards somebody else that'll give you a hint towards the next objective. Even like, man, they even had this kind of funny sense of humor where there's this kind of mafia thing going on. And there's actually like a city of bugs and these little, I don't know what you want to call them, townships or settlements, we'll say, of bugs. And it just really felt like it was real, you know?
Yeah, a really imaginative, fleshed out world. They made you feel like you were there was a purpose to moving through, and there was an actual reason to interact with all these different creatures. It was really great.
So another thing that I thought they did pretty good, but not perfect, man, was the controls in the game. You know, you're often jumping from one area to the next, or sprinting, or climbing up areas on kind of weird angles, and I thought they did a pretty good job. It's, like I said, not perfect, because sometimes when you're upside down, you kind of get a little bit tipsy-turvy and confused, but all in all, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, they really nailed that aspect as well. But if we're gonna wrap this up and put a score on this game, Nate, what did you think of this one?
Well, man, this one struck home with me. I really liked it. The story was hilarious. It really kind of kept me pushing forward to try to become a human again. And, you know, the whole Honey, I Shrunk the Kids style, along with the not too complicated of puzzles. Man, this one gets an 8.5 from me, bro. Loved it.
Nice. Yeah, I really agree with a lot of those. It was a fun game that pulls you in an enticing world, and it makes you feel like a part of it for a little while. I'm up there with an 8. Fun puzzles, awesome world design, and a great premise. We had a great time being a bug. A while ago, Nate and I took a look at Pokemon Shield, so check that out if you haven't seen it, but this time I'm back with the Isle of Armor DLC. The first of 2 DLC packs for these games, the Isle of Armor is an entire wild zone, fresh for you to explore. As soon as you get off the train, you speak to somebody about a regional Pokedex. That's obviously one of your goals in Pokemon. There's a lot of new Pokemon that are only available on this island. And right at the start of the island, it gives you the option of a starter from Kanto region. So you get to pick one of those old Pokemon to start, and they are G-Max versions of themselves, meaning they have a unique form when it comes to G-Maxing in a battle. Following the story of it, after you pick a new starter, you get a rival introduced to you that's actually pretty annoying. He can be kind of bad to you. He sometimes tries to steal from you, and other times just tries to take credit for things that you've done. You have an option of how to respond to him this time. You can be a jerk right back, and I really enjoy that. But moving past him, you have a series of trials to earn the trust of the Dojo Master. And when you earn the Dojo Master's trust, you get Cub Fu, your brand new Pokemon exclusive to this island. Another thing that's exclusive to the island is the G-Max soup that you're able to create, which allows you to take one of your past Pokemon and upgrade that to a variant of the G-Max variety that has its own look. There's also a special trainer that allows you to reset your Pokemon's EVs. This can be extremely important if you're one of those min-max competitive Pokemon types. There's a lot of facilities and services to upgrade in the dojo of this island, so there's a lot of things to spend your watts on, and a huge amount of time you can spend on this island upgrading your stuff. But ultimately, once you get Cub Fu and you go around the island, it's up to you to challenge one of the 2 towers. You have the option of the Water Tower or the Dark Tower, and depending on your choice, it will change your Cub Fu's evolution permanently. It's interesting that you only get to do one of these 2 towers, but at the end of the tower, you get that final special evolution, and it's worth the payoff. Now, if you're worried about what level you should hit the tower at, it's recommended that if you haven't completed the main storyline to be about level 30. Otherwise, you're going to have a hard time with an underleveled Cub Fu. You can only bring that one Pokemon with you through the trials, so you want to make sure that you're properly scaled. If you have beaten the story mode, it's supposed to scale up to about 60 to 70 levels, and that is a much higher level fight with a much higher caliber of moveset. All in all, if you're a Pokemon fan, there's a ton of things to add to your cards, your collectibles, and that Urshifu that this expansion is definitely going to be worth your while. Coming in at $40, you get the expansion pass, meaning you get the Isle of Armor and the next DLC pack that is teased to be coming soon down the pipe, and much larger than this one. So I've explained the content a lot of what's in this DLC, but it's really up to you to kind of attack it in your own pace. I'm one of those kind of casual Pokemon players. I'm not super fan, but I am interested enough to jump into the new games when they come out, and I like the design choices of the newer Pokemon. It's great that they brought a lot of older Pokemon back into the game this way, and some favorites like Scyther really stick out to me that I can find in the wilds, and the entire island is a wild that you can share with an online community. That's really interesting to me. All in all, this DLC was pretty fun. I want to give this a 7.5, but there's an asterisk with that. If you're a Pokemon fan, you're absolutely going to pick this up. The Isle of Armor is a nice addition to the main game. The old Pokemon are welcome back, and the abilities unlocked in the dojo are extremely useful. It might look like the Animus, but let's step into the Hyperscape.
Scott, you and I jumped into a tech test over on the Uplay store. We jumped into Ubisoft's latest adventure into Battle Royale Hyperscape. This is a unique 32 teams, I believe, that face on teams of 3 against each other, and obviously for the one and only surviving title and survivor. But what did you think of this Battle Royale and the new spin that it actually kind of excited us a little bit about, didn't it?
It was an interesting jump into a Ubisoft-coded Battle Royale, and I didn't know that this was something I wanted. But getting into it, it definitely kind of excited me. This is a new take on the genre, and it has a lot of interesting things that make it unique. Yeah, a couple of
the
those
high
things.
Speed to it, right? And the elevation to the level design, I think, really kind of stands out the most in the futuristic spin on everything too.
Yeah, the look of it is entirely its own brand, and it's very Ubisoft friendly. It has those kind of triangle look to it. Even the way the map hazards and the map just disintegrate, it kind of has this Thanos disintegration effect, and it looks really nice. Some of the things that make this game unique so far from looking at it is the ability to kind of pick your class character in per game basis, in the way that instead of picking somebody that just has like a teleport ability or a shield, now you find those pickups on the map, and when you find more of them, they level up, so you kind of get rewarded for sticking with a certain kind of play style. I think that's really interesting because it allows you to change up what you're doing, in the game.
It's definitely unique than what we're used to in a battle royale. Typically, you would go out and you'd be hunting for gear, and you're looking to upgrade that gear in like attachments, right? So you're gonna upgrade your mag, and then you're gonna look for a better scope, and then just other features that you're gonna want to attach to the guns that you have, and that's how you would focus. Or in certain other games too, like if you're talking about Apex, then you pick a certain character on the abilities that you want to help your team. Where in this case, you pick a character, but it doesn't really matter who you pick, because every time you jump into the battlefield, it's always unique on depending on the gear you get. And every time you grab like an AR, for example, if you grab that same AR, you then fuse it together, which then upgrades that gun. So you're not actually hunting for attachments, you're hunting for that same gun, if that's the gun you're looking for, or the same abilities, whether it be a health pack or the rolling ball. There's certain little features that I thought, man, that was really unique, to fuse weapons and fuse gear that allow you to just change the outcome of the battle versus looking for different unique attachments.
Oh yeah, they have their own unique slant on that, and they also populate the maps with kind of pickups here, there, and everywhere. It's kind of seemingly more randomly scattered than other games. A lot of the different buildings have like this gold shield over all the doors and all the windows. So what ends up happening is that people kind of enter during the lower parts of the level and then spring up in the rooftops. So you get a lot of this kind of vertical fighting going on because there's no fall damage, and there's a double jump ability, and oftentimes you actually get, what I think is really, really interesting about this game is you can have a vote that takes place where all of the viewers on Twitch can vote for a certain event that influences the game for all players in the game. And that can be a low gravity event. It could be an event where everybody gets a third jump, everybody gets max ammo, you know, certain fun things like that that pop up and really kind of mix up the game at certain segments. The viewer interaction is just next level. That's a really interesting thing of this game.
It's a nice touch coming out of Ubisoft, and something that really none of us expected to come from them. There was rumors out there and rumblings of them working on a battle royale, but you know, we kind of see a lot of battle royales come and go, and you don't really know what's going to stick around. And this one with Hyperscape, I think has a chance to stick around. This one was just a tech test. There were a couple little glitches here and there, but for the most part, man, this thing was really polished. But it was only on PC. It will be coming to the Xbox as well. Not too sure about the PS4 though, Scott. Did you hear anything about PlayStation at all?
Yes, actually, I'm pretty sure it is coming to PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC free to play on release. But Drew, if you were gonna recommend or not recommend this one when it drops in full release, what would you say about it?
You know what? I had a good time. This honestly, this genre is not my forte. It is super fast paced. So if you're not able to keep up like me, unfortunately, you're gonna have a bit of a hard time. Scott was able to kind of take his own, and you can manage, right? But I wasn't able to really kind of get my grasp on it, especially being on PC. I'm definitely looking forward to it when it comes on Xbox to check out. That's more my play style. So hopefully I'll be able to get over there and get a little bit more involved than I was kind of feeling not so comfortable, I guess, in the world of the PC. But it's definitely one, I think Ubisoft has something in a step up from what we've seen in the Battle Royale genre. So it's nice to see some innovation moving forward, and definitely one that I can recommend. Keeping an eye on. Like, the tech test is over, but it's something to watch for when it releases in the full launch.
Yeah, this one is absolutely unique. It's very quick, and it's kind of modeled similar to some of the faster paced ones. So if that's not your game, you might want to stick to something more militarily based. But if you're into that sci-fi, quick, super shooter of a battle royale game, I definitely recommend you check out this one on full release, and we will be taking a deeper look into it at that time. A new battle royale has entered the fray. With some unique twists on the genre, this is absolutely something to keep an eye on.
Alright, so I'm back with the Canadian Division Game Day 2 coverage, and I'm going to be giving you some highlights and just get you caught up to date with the latest and greatest in the Rainbow Six Siege esports. So first things first, there's actually been some team name changes. The North is now Livid, and the Squires are now Altoria. Now, we haven't much information on either of these teams, as they have never played at this level of play for Rainbow Six Siege. Now, we have seen a couple players play in the Canadian division, and one player actually did play on Disrupt Gaming way back in 2018. He's actually a very reputable CCS player and actually may have won a championship. So they do have some reputable players, but nonetheless, they have not played at this level of gameplay. Rainbow Six Siege Pro League level is unlike anything I have ever seen in any shooter. So for these guys, this is a really big step moving forward. So heading straight into the action, this match was decided in 3 maps: Oregon, Coastline, and Clubhouse. All of these matches were exceptionally well played. These teams were pretty back and forth for the most part. The second map, Coastline, was right to the bitter end, but ultimately Livid came out on top with that one. But Clubhouse, that's when Altoria really showed their top skill by winning most of the matches and kind of leaving Livid out to dry. So with Altoria taking the match, they're up against Team Mirage for the upper bracket, And now Team Nordic is playing against Livid for the lower brackets. So both games are going to be very exciting, and I'm excited also to give you the coverage on next week's episode.
The guys and I are back with another Let's Play. One of our longtime favorites is never gonna stop by the looks of this one. Here's more Red Dead Online, and we're kicking up in some moonshine business. Let's make some money. Here we are, right here.
How did you guys get here for what?
Oh. Oh, that really messes things up.
Deer, but...
Holy, when you get achievements unlocked, it unlocks on the computer and the streaming Xbox.
Ping, ping.
And it just like locked the screen up on me. I was like, oh.
Oh, nice.
Oh, cool. Your moonshine shack. Let's check this sucker out.
It's pretty low key right now. I got a lot of upgrading and things to do. So when I jumped in though, they had issues. So they had the same issue where your camp would disappear. Well, so with the moonshine shack, it would disappear as well. So I wasn't able to kind of keep working away at it.
Never had like a home base. Yeah, it just kept resetting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crappy.
Yeah, it is. It looks like they fixed it though. So I could be
cool.
finding myself
this lady
grinding away. Dude, she's in charge of all this stuff. We're gonna go save her nephew.
I'll buy a moonshine.
She's down tonight.
He's been in
Canada
since the raid, but I got word he's about to be moved to high security.
You like moonshine, huh?
Interesting timing, wouldn't you say? Just as I get off my deathbed.
Drew, your guy looks like legit, and you look over at mine. Scott's guy look like.
Reason I heard,
dude, I've been busy. I've played a lot.
By the name of Stan Reardon, and we'll be transferring him onto Lem's convoy at some point on the route. I digress.
This is what I'm gonna look like when I'm a bit older.
Yeah. This is what I'm gonna look like when I'm a bit older.
I gotta grow my hair out.
Jump on him. Just stay sharp. You did good with Marcel. Get me Lem too. You'll be well on your way.
To like the next good section of
blood is thicker than shine. Alright, let's go free the nephew.
We only have 2 team lives.
That's it. No dying there, Corey.
Okay.
I'll be the first one out.
Difficulty. What do you expect, man? I'm not a pro.
Masks on, guys. Masks on.
Oh yeah.
Well, how do you do masks?
How do we do that again?
Left bumper, right bumper once.
Oh, you're taking up my tree. I was in my menus. Oh, my poor horse. I'm sorry, horse. Oh.
All right, bandana is on.
Hang on, I'm still working on my bandana. That was. All right, I got it. Okay. All right, now what are we doing?
It's the end of the mish.
I don't know, my guy's just relaxing. Must be.
We all took a knee?
My horse was pooping.
While you were kneeing down next to it?
Yeah.
Gotta love Red Dead.
Oh, man.
Great cinematic moments that never leave you.
Yep.
We're all just hanging out here. Drew's a ghost, man.
But so are you. Scott's not now.
Why does it? Oh, not anymore.
There you go, Ian.
She got another mission for us?
We gotta wait for Lem to arrive in the prison wagon.
Here he is. The wagon's coming up.
Okay.
They must be here for the prisoner. Protect that wagon.
Where's the wagon?
I don't know. I'm just shooting. Oh no! What happened? Ah! Well, there's a wagon right there.
You here for me? Yes, there's a change of plans.
Oh. Nice. Nice. Right. Anybody still alive? Did we get them all? No, I think.
No, that's clean.
That's the crew.
Who are you?
Nice.
Are you getting me out of here?
I missed. Whoa.
Oh, did you?
That was close.
Do I know you? Oh, Maggie! She is alive. Oh,
Maggie.
my God, am I glad to see you.
Oh, get out of there. Uh-oh.
No, it's revenue men. Must have been tailing us. What the hell?
Oh, we got guys on the left side too. Oh yeah, they're coming from everywhere.
They're coming right for us.
Oh, you up there? Okay.
Oh. Excuse me, sir.
Ow!
Oh, getting a lot of headshots here. This is satisfying.
It's just a small flick up on the stick, right? And it gets them.
Yeah, you almost just get it down to a reflex.
Yeah. Oh, that was a headshot. Now he's dead. Oh, Rock saved you. Oh, somebody beat you.
Oh,
nice.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we got a bunch of guys over there. Corey, you got any Molotovs left?
No, I only had 2.
Man.
Oh, that lit me up.
Hey, Maggie!
You're late.
Hey, Maggie, I can't believe it.
Oh, I don't die so easy.
I didn't know if you were...
I know. But we're here now. And I am gonna make it right. All of it.
Mon ami! Are you okay?
Marcel.
Oui, c'est moi.
What are you doing here?
Oh, how charming.
Lots changed, Lem.
Can I get you some soup or perhaps something stronger, huh?
Marcel, put him in my room for now.
But of course. Come on, then.
I miss this old place.
Get some sleep. We got a lot of catching up to do. Thank you for this. He's a dope sometimes, but he has all I got. Go down and grab yourself a drink. I'll make sure you get an extra cut out of my side of the business. You've earned it.
What are you waiting
Nice.
for? The rest you
Yep,
can
making money,
yourself.
boys.
All right on.
Hey, here we are.
There we are. Cheers.
Right on, this is cool.
That's it. We're back. We're back making money in the moonshine industry here now over on Red Dead Online. Look for more of us to be back. And let's head right back to the show. Well, that's another episode this week in the books. Thanks so much for sticking around and checking us out. And of course, you can be a part of the show just like Bear vs. Shark did over at InsideTheGame.ca by submitting his clip to end off our show. We're back with more Call of Duty. And maybe don't tick off a guy who's trying to get his load out. Watch this. And next week, we'll be back with more Inside the Game.
Taking direct fire.
Gas is closing. Get to the new safe zone.
You'll survive. I got you.